Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
So let's look at topic number 1. In the topic number 1, we'll try to learn about barter system. Okay. Now today we have paper money, right? We have coins, we have notes that we understand as money. But it was not always these money that we understood today that existed in the society, in the communities. Alright? It has undergone series of evolution and events after which eventually the money, paper money and the coin that we use today were introduced as money or medium of exchange. Okay? So barter system was introduced before the modern concept of money that we use today. Alright? And during the earlier times, trade was carried out by barter. Okay, a system called barter. Now, what is barter? Barter is an exchange or a system where sale and purchase of goods and services took place without the use of money. So there were no use of money, alright? And whatever you wanted to get, you had to exchange it, okay? You had to exchange in certain ways that there was no use of money. Money was not introduced then, alright? So how was this barter taken place during that time? How did the barter system or barter take place? So barter system is an economic system which is based upon barter. Okay, and that is called barter economy. It's also called CC economy, and where C stands for commodity. Alright, so exchange of commodities without the use of money is called barter system. There was no money. I had apples, you had rice, so I need rice to cook rice and have food in my house. So I would exchange my apples so that you could give me your rice, okay, which I needed, and you also needed fruits to add to your nutrition. So we exchange the commodity. I take your rice by giving you what I have, which is apples, and you take my apples giving me what you have, which is rice. So this is how trade, purchase, sale of commodities took place without the use of money. So here, like I said, in the barter system, commodity to commodity exchange takes place. Okay, the exchange that takes place is with the use of commodities directly. Alright, and the system of exchange where goods and services exchanged directly for goods and other goods and services. So in the barter system, you have goods and services, you can provide goods and services, but you need other kinds of goods and services. So exchange your goods and services to avail other goods and services. Alright, so you give your fruits to get the grains. You give your wood, firewood to get some water. You give your grains to get some medicine. So that's how you exchange goods as well as services. Alright, I will work in your field so that you can give me grain. So I am offering you my service so that you can pay me in grain. So this was barter system. But this system, it was difficult. It was not good for the economic system. Okay, it did not sustain for a long time. Alright, because the system had some difficulties. Now, what were these difficulties? These difficulties, because of it being problematic to the economic system, it eventually gave birth to money that we use today for exchanges, for sales and purchase, for trade, etc. Okay, so what were these difficulties? There were two main difficulties that barter system faced, because of which money was eventually introduced. Okay, because barter system could not work in the sale and purchase of goods and services. Okay, so the first problem is called double coincidence of wants. Okay, now in the barter system, if you had to sell or if you wanted some commodity, Okay, like for example, I give you an example of me having an apple or having a basket full of apples or more than that. Okay, but I don't have rice. I want to buy rice. Now we are not using money for exchange of commodities. We are using the barter system. No money. Okay, so now in order to get the rice or get someone who was ready to sell the rice, I had to make sure that that person would sell the rice because he or she would want my apples. So I had to find someone who could buy what I had, which is apples, in order for them to sell their rice, which I want. And if they are not ready, then we cannot have an exchange of commodities, and that would be a problem because I would not get what I want. So this is double coincidence of wants. Both the parties, the buyer as well as the seller, both the parties, they have to make sure that the commodities they are buying and the commodities they are selling, they need to be wanted by both the buyers and sellers. Okay. Now this had a problem because not all the time you would want what the seller wants or seller wants to sell, or you would buy what is being offered by the other person. Okay, so this was one of the problem. The second is lack of common unit of value. Now in the barter system, when there was an exchange of only commodities, okay, there was an absence of common unit. Okay, common unit in terms of values of goods and services that had to be measured and stated. So when you exchanged in a barter system commodities, okay, now there were no units of measurement. For example, in order for me to get a sack of rice, okay, a sack of rice, there was no unit of measurement as to how many apples I had to give. I had to give it to the other person in exchange. Okay, such unit of measurement was not stated. So which means that you can give one apple and still get some rice. You can give one fistful of rice for 12 bananas, a dozen of bananas, So there was no unit of measurement, all right, and no value attached to the goods and services. So people did not put emphasis as to how valuable that commodity was, or the service that was provided that was. Okay, so because of the absence of the unit of measurement and also the value added to the goods and services, there was no proper accounting system. Okay, accounting system is this system which manages what commodities should be priced at what, should be priced how much, all right, all that, and how much for certain amount of price, how much quantity should be sold or bought, right? When you go to the shop today, for 20 rupees, you get 1 kg of sugar, for example. Right? So there is a unit of measurement and value added to the commodity that you purchase, right? So those things were absent. Because of being absent, there was no accounting system maintained during the earlier time because of this barter system, all right? So these two were main difficulties faced during the barter system, during the use of barter system. As a result of these difficulties, this system of barter had to be done away with, okay, and eventually money was introduced, all right.